UCLA gets stunned with an early elimination in the Big Ten tournament. Kupp heads to the Pacific Northwest because he hates his knees. And USC's defensive line adds yet another blue chip prospect. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the Faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It's March 15th, 2025, and I am counting the hours until the LA Galaxy play Portland on Sunday. It's going to be lovely. What's also lovely, we added a new subscriber to the Angeleno Familia yesterday. Thank you for getting in on the ground floor. We're going to do our best to keep you informed. And if you like being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It will let you know when we drop new content. Sharing's caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. Now, before we go through the news notes, a look at the scoreboard. Denver 131, Lakers 126. The Clippers beat down Atlanta 121-98. And in the Big Ten tournament, Wisconsin 86, UCLA 70. We'll talk more about that in a moment. Meanwhile, today, Nashville's at the Kings at 5 o'clock. And Austin FC is playing LAFC at 12:45. So, what do you say we get to the news? Got a question. What does getting sent home in the quarterfinals of the Big Ten tournament mean for UCLA in March Madness? For that matter, what the hell does that mean for the Bruins locker room? You see, when UCLA loses, it's really a good idea to turn out the ambient noise. Just turn it down. Because when you do so, you can hear the faint ticking of the time bomb that is Coach Mick Cronin. You can hear it. And you damn sure don't want to be around ground zero when that bomb goes off. But, gotta be real with you. After getting ousted way too early in the tournament, Mick Cronin gave a fair critique. Quote, "We got our asses kicked." That's the headline. But then he described how the Bruins got their asses kicked. He described Wisconsin as a team, quote, "that can shoot it at all 5 positions. Really, we don't have the personnel. We don't match up well with teams like that, and we haven't all year. We don't have an athletic lineup that can just switch and really shut that down," unquote. See, he's right, because the Bruins played the Badgers twice, and Wisconsin hit almost 55% of their threes. 55%. So you look back on that game, and you look to the immediate future in the NCAA tournament, and you ask yourself a couple of questions. One of which is, should Cronin be blamed for not recruiting that kind of lineup? See, I'm not sure you can. I don't think that's fair. Can anybody really create the perfect versatile roster? Really? Like somebody's going to go up and go, man, we can do it all. We can defend inside. We can defend the perimeter. We can post up. We can shoot threes. We can match any tempo. All of that sounds bleeping absurd. There is such a thing as matchup problems in all of sports. Because then it brings up the second question. How many teams are like Wisconsin or play Wisconsin style even better? Don't get me wrong. There are teams that probably could. But it seems to me that the question for UCLA is, how many teams are they going to face in the NCAA tournament that will have trouble matching up with them? Because it goes both ways. In my opinion, it seems to me that the best way to defeat a team like Wisconsin comes up in a cliche. The cliche that you have to make your opponent play your game. UCLA got caught playing Wisconsin's game. Now, having said that, and I acknowledge that I might be accused of drinking hopium here, as a result, the Bruins are highly unlikely to get a good seed in the NCAA tournament. But not too many teams can create the type of mismatch against UCLA that Wisconsin did. So, Losing this early, not a good look for UCLA. But it's also not a kill shot. So I wouldn't give up the ship just yet. And that's the memo. In any sport, even the NFL, free agency is supposed to be a time where a player that can make the decision that's best for him or her. And that makes me wonder a lot about Cooper Kupp. It does. Look, I like Cooper Kupp. I have a Cooper Kupp jersey at my house. But as a free agent, he decided to leave the Rams to sign with Seattle, and man, that is a huge mistake. It really is. Look, I realize the guy wants to play in his home state. So I guess in the grand scheme of things, that means the plus side is when he's sent to the hospital, at least he'll be close to family and friends. Kupp wanted to stay with the Rams. We know this. But even for years, he had been saying how much he hates playing on artificial turf. Like at SoFi Stadium. Guess what the Seahawks play on? You guessed it. And I went through Kupp's career, and by my count, he has suffered a minimum of 6 injuries on artificial turf. See, I saw one of them. It was back in 2022. I went to see the Rams play the Cardinals over at SoFi. Kupp blasts out his ankle. It's a high ankle sprain. He had to go on injured reserve. He had surgery, gone for the year. And now he's going to a place that also plays on artificial turf. Former Seahawks coach Pete Carroll has been advocating that the NFL look into safety concerns over artificial turf. It's because he knows damn well how risky it is for that team to be playing on that surface. And now Cooper Kupp is going there, honestly, to play for an inferior team. Dude, when you wind up having to be wheeled out on that chair after getting yet another surgery, you might have wanted to consider playing for Denver or Kansas City. No disrespect. You know, one of the reasons I prefer to talk sports instead of politics is because whenever you go ride or die with a politician, any politician, I don't care which side, eventually you're going to wind up having to defend something extremely stupid that politician did. And I don't want to say things that are extremely stupid on a regular basis. But yesterday I said something extremely stupid. I said that the Rams would miss defensive end Michael Hoyt. Turns out they won't at all. No, Buffalo will miss Michael Hoyt because Michael Hoyt took performance-enhancing drugs. So props to me. I was wrong. Coming correct. Matter of fact, Buffalo is going to miss Michael Hoyt for 6 games. So this isn't exactly a wee little faux pas, is it? Now, to his credit, Hoyt said he takes full responsibility and said he even told prospective teams that he tested positive so that he wasn't ripping them off. I would assume this means that he also told that to the Rams, and the Rams were like, thanks. Hey, let's book an Uber to get the hell out of here. That's how I'm imagining Michael Hoyt not returning to LA. I said something stupid. USC football recruiting for the class of 2026 hasn't been hitting grand slams. Basically, to use this baseball metaphor inappropriately, they've been basically knocking one ground rule double after another. 4-star prospect after 4-star prospect, right? Well, the latest 4-star is a defensive lineman, Jaimion Winfield of Richardson, Texas. So he's a top 100 prospect. The dude pitched in last year for his high school with 8.5 sacks, 22 tackles for loss as well. He's considered the 7th best defensive line prospect in the nation. He is the 15th commitment to the Trojans in this cycle, presuming, of course, that they all actually do sign. Now, I do admit there are those of you who are worried about out-of-state commitments who suddenly flip on the Trojans. I hear you. Loud and clear. But he is only the 5th commitment outside of the West Coast. Moreover, if he does decide to flip, and I'm not saying that he will, but we saw that happen a lot last year. If he does decide to flip, USC does have another 4-star defensive line commitment from California, Samante Katawanga. So, just saying. Enjoy the recruiting while it's going on. Unless, of course, you're UCLA football, because the Bruins took a recruiting hit. And the reason that they took a recruiting hit is because, honestly, UCLA has standards. It kind of sucks for the team because Caden Robinson, who attempted to transfer to UCLA from Appalachian State, would have made a lovely addition to the offense, right? But he's from Appalachia. What makes you think classes from Appalachian State would transfer to UCLA and work? What? All your credits from playing banjo and whittling, you really thought that was going to count? Really? Maybe a thesis paper on the social benefits from impregnating your sister, you thought that was going to carry here? Not saying you did impregnate your sister. Just saying it's Appalachia. So, he gets denied coming to UCLA, and Robinson then declares for the NFL draft, which means maybe he can play the national anthem in a manner that people from Appalachia can appreciate, by blowing on a jug. Good news for the Chargers in free agency. They might not be able to plug all the holes that were created on the defensive line, but after half a week, they finally addressed the interior offensive line. And it might be their best signing yet. Mekhi Becton may be that important addition for the Bolts this offseason. He gets a 2-year pact after reviving his career with Super Bowl champion Philadelphia. Now, he was originally drafted as a tackle by the New York Jets. Okay? Turns out, though, his best asset is run blocking. You would think a tackle would excel at protecting the quarterback from an outside blitz. No, he was terrific with the Eagles. So this is a thing. This is a thing the Chargers really want. Look, if you remember last year, the Chargers wanted to run. Couldn't run. So they go out and they add Najee Harris, who had rushed for over 1,000 yards for 4 consecutive seasons with Pittsburgh, because they wanted to run. But you can't run without somebody to block. Now, analytics nerds have something called run block win rate. Did you know last year, the highest ranked Bolts offensive lineman was Brad Bozeman at 160? Do the math. You have 31 other teams in the NFL. You have 3 starting interior offensive linemen. What this win rate analytics thing is trying to illustrate is that the interior Chargers offensive line was a trio of borderline third stringers out there. If you wonder why the Bolts haven't had a 1,000-yard rusher since 2017, that's it. So what this means for the Chargers offensive line is, assuming Becton played right guard with the Eagles. If he plays right guard with the Chargers, Trey Pipkins is benched at best. The Bolts have been trying to sell us on Zion Johnson moving from left guard to center, so that basically leaves one more hole up front. Also, with the Chargers, Taylor Heineke is returning as backup quarterback, because if that's going to show us anything, it's that there will be no more Easton Stick, no more Easton Stick, no more Easton Stick. Unless, of course, you're a season ticket holder in the UFL. Both LA soccer teams know their opponents for the quarterfinal round of CONCACAF Champions Cup, and it's going to be some doozies. LAFC is going to play Inter Miami. Yeah, Lionel Messi. The 6-time MLS Cup champion Galaxy, though, will face 8-time Liga MX Cup champs Tigres. Now, the tournament will resume for both teams in early April. Meanwhile, the LA Daily News is reporting that LAFC is hopeful newbie Cengiz Ünder can rise to the challenge. Ünder has said he has faced Messi, Luis Suarez, and Jordi Alba, all who play for Inter Miami now, quote, many times in Europe. We need to play more aggressively since it's going to be hard for them as well, unquote. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me about how bad UCLA's loss could look for the NCAA tournament. And for that matter, what is your time frame for Cooper Kupp to get injured playing in Seattle? And if you enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We talk LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.